Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Mila Braika. I'm looking at the Silver Scroll and the geography surrounding it. And we're going to look at a few ancient texts and some of the geography that we can see here. And this is the scroll that was found at Ketef, Hinnon. And I have a replica of here just to sort of give us an idea what we're doing here. And way back in ancient times, people wanted to have the scripture with them. They would have it scratched on the surface of a piece of silver foil that would have been hammered out really flat, and then the message was put on there. So this is the priestly blessing on this particular scroll. It was found in a cave or in a tomb on the Hinnon edge of the Hinnon Valley, the Ketef Hinnon, and there, after its discovery, it took a couple, 2 or 3 years to unroll it, and it's become one of the most key portions. It's the oldest scripture portion we have of the scriptures we use today, and so it's very interesting for us to take a good look at this. Now today we're looking a little bit of where it is found and its environment. So, and I'm using Judges 19, starting here at 10. This is a very unfortunate story of the Levite who had a concubine. Concubine took off, went back to Bethlehem. That's where her family was. And then the Levite goes back there and grabs or takes back his concubine, which is his concubine. It's Pilgashu. Okay, so with reason, I think she took off because wow, she had a pretty rough life with this Levite. Levite's really nothing to emulate, and it was pretty tough for everybody. And as it turned out very rough for the tribe of Benjamin, very rough for the rest of the tribes of Israel in the civil war that resulted from what happened to this Pilgashu, to this concubine. But anyway, there is an environment. There's this took place in an area that's known. So we're going to take a look at what we know of it. So Valo Abba, and he did not want to, and that's Haish, the man. This is the Levite. He had gone to Bethlehem. He had sat and talked with the father of his father-in-law for a long time. And first, second, third day, oh, he's had it. No more partying. I got to get out of here. I'm leaving, gone. Okay. Velo Abba, and he did not want Lalun. He didn't want to stay the night. Okay. Didn't want to stay overnight. Had it. He's the father-in-law is still inviting. No, I'm out of here. So he decides to leave. Alun Vayakam, and he got up. Velech, and then he walked. These are all third-person singular prefixed narration here. Okay, so and he got up and he walked and he left and he came. Okay, he arrived. Vayabo ad nocha, and that is to the front of or facing. Okay, that's the nocha, that's in front of. Jebus, and Jebus, he Jerusalem, which is Jerusalem. So it's at a point in time which you're just talking about Jebusites, it's one thing, but you have to explain this is Jerusalem. And in the picture I have here, it's a print produced by David Roberts way back in 1839, and this is at a time when Europeans were once again becoming interested in what was happening at Jerusalem. And he went out and he did these line drawings, very detailed, very moving actually. Built a lot of interest actually in the city of Jerusalem just on the basis of these drawings. And so there it is. This is actually the Dome of the Rock, and then the south wall that was put there by Solomon the Great, and then the corner. This later on became Zion. Originally, Zion was the little spur of land in front of the Dome of the Rock this way towards the south. The picture here is drawn looking from south to north. So in a sense, we're seeing basically what the Levites saw when he topped the ridge coming from Bethlehem heading north. He'd have to get up onto the watershed ridge to get over to. He has to cross the top of this hill over here and get in past the city on the west side of the city. So So he Yerushalayim ve'imo, and with him Shemed, two Hamorim, two donkeys, okay? Habushim, that are saddled. They have a habush there. They have saddles on them, so they're carrying some goods and some things along. So, Pil Geshu and his concubine Imo with him. This poor gal is about to undergo terrible suffering arriving there in Benjamin. So it's quite a very sad story, actually, and I think we could probably learn from what had happened there. And so next verse, Hem, Im Jebus, which and they were with Jebus. Okay, they're alongside. Im is with alongside, and at this point, if they're looking down onto the city, for that to happen, they'd have to top the watershed ridge, and they'd be continuing on the road. The road at that point would go right along the top edge of the ridge. It's flatter up there. You don't have to go up and down so much. And you'd have the Rephaim Valley on this side. You have the Hinnon Valley on that side. And Gabi Barkai was used to like saying, yep, and then they stopped right here by the Sono gas station, needed a little drink from the water there and so forth. Had to gas up the Hamorim again. Anyway, from that point, this little description here, this little conversation here between the Levite and the Na'ar makes a lot of sense, because at that point they can see the city of Jerusalem in front of them. Now it says right here, Rad Meod, and so Hayom Rad Meod, and the city. Now I can take this as the base root of Yarad, that is to descend, but it's if you look up the dictionaries, it's Radad. It's also something that's being destroyed or tamping itself down. Okay, it's going on down. So, and if you just know how the sunsets are in this area, when you get to the top of the ridge here, the sun sets down into the Mediterranean on this side, and what happens then is the watershed ridge puts a shadow over the rest of the city. So the city begins to darken, whereas you can still see quite nicely out towards the west, towards the sunset. So it's an interesting setup as to what's happening with the light. Yom, the day, Rad Meod, and was descending or destroying itself a whole lot, or tamping, like I said, tamping itself down. But Yomer, and then he said, Hanahar. Now we have a young servant involved here. This is a conversation the servant's holding now with the Levite. Nahar, Hanahar, al Adonav, to his master, to his lord. Lecha na, let us go, please. Okay, let's go, please. Na shura, and let us turn in. So hortatory hey at the end here, or Joseph, yeah. Self, in other words, let us do this. Okay, the na, of course, is a petition verb or petition particle. So let's go and let us turn in. Shur is to turn off. So in other words, they're on the path heading south to north, and when they get to this spot where they can see the city very clearly at their feet, this young man brings forward this suggestion here. So Shura al Ir Hayebushi, to the city of the Jebusites. Okay, Hayir Hayebushi. Zot, these. Okay, demonstrative pronoun here. After the demonstrative pronoun based on the Jebusites. Ve nalin ba, and let us stay the night in her. Okay, and her then is of course a reference to Jerusalem, or to the city of the Ir right here. Okay, so let's stay the night in there. And the Levite says, no, these are all pagans, these are all bad guys, we're gonna have trouble. And it's very unfortunate, because instead of staying the night where they probably would have had somewhat of an okay reception, they keep on going up to Gibeah, and of course everything falls apart at Gibeah with the evil actions of the men from the tribe of Benjamin. So you can read the story, find out just all the evil and bad things that happened there. But what we find here is that the Levite at this point was standing at a spot looking down on the city of Jerusalem. Roberts did a lot of pictures, a lot of prints, and this is one of them. And this fortification that we have here and the citadel tower are still there. And this is actually the north edge of the Jaffa Gate complex. In his day, the wall probably was filled in, but later on it was opened up here so vehicles could go up the hill here and over here. All of this structure you see here and here and here are still visible today. What we have here is Nehemiah 11 verse 30, and it's the supply chain that they set up to bring goods for the feeding the musicians in the city of Jerusalem once the city was reestablished. And it's a list of cities and things related to those towns, and then where this thing stretched from these last two towns I'm going to mention here. Zonah, this is a town out in towards the Safela. We're looking, if you go from here straight east, you get to Zonah. There's a modern city also known as Zonah. These cities in post-exilic times took on importance. Okay, Zonah, Adullam, of course, was there way back. Judah's friend Hira came from Adullam, and Behatzorechem, and their patios, their fields, paddocks, I think the translation of some of the translators. But Hatzar is a patio, so it would be the fields that are around these two towns. Lachish, of course, a very well-known Shephelah town that was destroyed quite a bit by the Assyrians. Very extensively studied by the archaeologists in numerous digs. In fact, Gabi Barkai did some digging here at Lachish. I believe the palace there was done by him. So Lachish, Shedecha, and Shedochetecha, and its fields. Okay, Shedotecha. Azekah, which if you go from Lachish and head straight north, one of the guarding cities just above the Elah Valley. If anybody was standing at the Elah Valley and looked down, they would have seen the conflict between David and Goliath in front of them in the floor of the Elah Valley in front of Azekah. Azekah was incidentally also excavated by Professor Lipschitz, who I worked with under at Ramat Rachel. So Azekah. Ubenotecha and its daughters, which is probably the small villages that are around Azekah, and Hananun and Beersheba, and then they camped from Beersheba at Hinnon, all the way to Hinnon. So the supply chain for feeding the musicians in the city of Jerusalem stretched all the way. This is about 2 or 3 day ride on a donkey, so it was a long stretch of supply chain providing food for the musicians in the city of Jerusalem during Nehemiah's time. At this point in time, the scroll that interests us was already under the feet of these people on this side here. And here it is, the scroll. Yebercha Yahweh v'yashmarecha Yair Yahweh fanav alecha v'yechunecha Yetzeh Yehovah fanav alecha v'yashem lecha shalom. This is the silver scroll found at the tomb. That previous picture was from this area right here. The Levite standing and looking down across the valley was from this spot just above where the scroll was found. So this gives us a sense of the placement, a sense of where things were, and it's a real place and a real spot in real time. And we've had the privilege now to take a short study of it and understand where it is and what it did in its time and to this day. May God bless and may God sustain.